Welcome everyone in this webinar that is organized by the Cost Action International Interdisciplinary Network on Smart, Healthy, Age-Friendly Environments. This is the webinar that is to proceed on the how to build and maintain an online network. And our guest speakers today are the owners of the Link Leaders company, that is Mark van Waasbergen and Karin Muller. They will give their presentation and tell us more about how to build and maintain an online network. And they gave permission to interrupt them if you have any questions or else. So I'm very pleased and welcome them to give their presentation, and they can start now, if you please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my background is semiconductor industry. I was a product manager, did a lot of developments, and I used to fly all over the world, spent weeks in hotels, going to conferences and getting to know our customers and our people in the same line of expertise. And it took many years to get a establishment in trust and friendships to a level where you can work together, until there became online networking possible. And we started doing that, and what happened is that there was a more continuous line of communication throughout the year, instead of those 1, 2, 3, or 4 conferences throughout the year. So we came to know each other much more. We were able to share personal stuff and getting online friends. We certainly never met in a few times. And we also started to know people around and besides the bigger companies. And in that year, we started doing that. We saw a much more greater result in our cooperation on developing certain issues, on letting to show each other where the problems were. And in that, I would like to take you on a tour of what we did in the development with our company on getting to work and network online, profitable and beneficial for your innovations and developing. Karin.
Yes. Okay. Mark van Waasbergen and Karin Muller, we're the founders of Link Leaders. And Mark has a technical background. He's the technical backbone of the company. And I myself have a marketing background. And from this, we work together in helping companies online network and create a better environment for their operations, for their communications, and for their organizations to grow. And small detail, we're also married. So technical issues and marketing issues collide together 24/7 for us. And you can use social networks to get market insights, to share resources, or you can use it to sell. But what we found out is that many people find it challenging. Research shows that about 70% of people are using networks of networking to sell products or services. However, less than 45% of them declare that they're effective. And only 17% are using networking to get market insights or to share resources. Only 17%. That means that you have a big opportunity if you really start networking from content, that there's a big group of people that might be interested in it. Networking is making and maintaining contacts that can help you in any way you will want. During a network conversation, you share experiences, tips, advice. It is a way to help each other, very important. What is the advantage of networking? Networking is all about sharing, not taking, and that is usually a challenge for all of us. The main thing is in the basis, as a human, you only think about yourself. In networking, you have to think only about the people, the person you're networking with. It's about building a trust, building a relationship. It's all about helping each other in achieving their goals. And it works by maintaining regular contact with your relations, looking for opportunities to help them. And in that way, you're further strengthening the bonds. Professional networks are a group of people with whom you maintain valuable contacts, like the network that Mark was talking about. It can be online, it can be in person. And the last year, we have, of course, no joke, no surprise, seen a development in online networking. And on the other hand, we've seen a decline in it because it's a new way of networking and we still have to learn that. And not thinking about yourself, but thinking about the other in an online relationship is a whole different kind of field to be operating in. It's all about, it keeps on going about sharing knowledge, sharing contact with each other, and that is important for you as well as for your contacts. Networking is really seen as necessary because it's a way to keep abreast of the developments around you. New projects, usually you get from out of your network. New jobs is the best way to get them is from out of your network. New insights on your knowledge is usually the best way to get from out of your network. How to find new developments come always from, for the biggest part, from out of your network. So maintaining and helping and keeping up with your network is very interesting. But how do you network? Well, first you start by meeting people through other people. And your objective in this is important. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to meet? Where, how, where and how do you want to meet them? Very important in this, and in this part, you can think about yourself. What's in it for you? What do you want to achieve when you're networking, either offline or online? Then you can start working on the leveraging of social media. With social media, there are no limits, there are no borders. If you use the right language, you can talk to people all over the world. The number of people you meet, there are no limits in it. So you can use social media through every way that you want. Very important in networking is that you don't take up too much time. Remember, it's not about you. So try to give, try to find out as soon as possible what your network finds interesting, and then let the other person speak as much as possible. That's a challenge. I realize that. It's every day also a challenge for us. Another thing is don't keep score. I'm not sure if you're aware, if you're familiar with the Stephen Covey, the book, the 7 Immaculate. No, it's about that you're having an emotional bank account. So you don't keep score. You're just depositing in the emotional bank account. And from that, you will know that someday it will come back to you. You operate from the belief that from what you give, it will get back to you in any way you can, or in any way that you can or cannot imagine. And then is, yeah, in content, how to network. That is by presenting interesting content, but mainly interesting for them, just for the audience that you're networking with. And this is very important to give. There are a few international networks that they have even as a slogan, it pays to give. And that is the biggest theme around networking is that as much as you give, you ultimately get back, but only when you don't expect anything back from it. Why would you, as in the profession that you are, why would you want to be networking? Well, an example that we have, that when you would be applying for a subsidy, it may be needed to show that you have a relation with a certain audience. If you can show that you're already in contact with this group, it might help in your application, or maybe it's even a base rule that you need to have that in your application. For several studies, you'll need input from this research group itself. Creating and organizing a focus group might take a lot of work and also a lot of budget. And it's very often, it's too extensive only to get some insights for your research. Why not create an easy, accessible focus group with whom you can create factual focus groups at any time, so that you have a bigger group where you're in contact with, that maybe every now and then you can ask a small question just to stay into contact with your research group, with your audience, and that you get to know them as good as possible. Usually what we say to our clients is that don't try to imagine what your audience would think about it, just ask them. It's the easiest way, and that way you never have to imagine and have to start creating for yourself, because they already know the answer. It's the easiest way. So I'm going to focus now a little bit on social media groups, because what I said earlier, if you want to have an audience that you can use also in your subsidy, a group might be interesting. So there are several social media groups available. You know them on Facebook, you know them probably on LinkedIn. I know most of you already participate in groups on LinkedIn. We have visited most of your profiles, and we saw that you're participating on groups already. But it's not that easy to create groups, so be aware that there are pros and cons around groups. The pros. When you have a group, you're able to get advice at any time you want. You're able to share knowledge, so that you're sharing knowledge to them and that you get back from them. It's also a way to show your expertise. It's a way to collect interesting data. And of course, it's a way to start networking within a specific group that you want. There are a lot of people that say, why should I create a group when I already have a network here available? Hey, the people that you're connected with. Well, the thing is, the people that you're connected with is usually broader than a certain audience that you might have in mind. So that's why a group might be more interesting for them. And also, in a social media group, you have more options in creating website visitors towards the website that you would want. Those are the pros. But be aware, there are also a lot of cons in having a social media group. In Holland, you have a saying, kijken, kijken, niet kopen. So a lot of people prefer to look, to watch, but do not participate. And be aware that about 10% participates. So you have a whole group, and we call them the lurkers, who only watch, they see, but they don't participate. And it might be frustrating when you have a group. What you also see, and I saw a lot of you were in huge groups, quantity over quality, so that you have a group with thousands of participants, but the quality of the discussions within the group, they vary. The management and moderation of a group, if you have a group, might be extensive. You're the one who has to keep the group alive, make sure that they're continuous provided with content, that you check out whether the discussions go all right. If it's too much commercial messaging, that you have something for that. So management and moderation, also for the growth of your group further, is really a challenge. the visibility of your group, should you have a LinkedIn group, is a challenge as well. About 5-6 years ago, LinkedIn changed the rules and regulations around groups, and they just vanished from the visibility. They, for already a few years, they are trying to get that back, to get the groups back to have more. It's weird, right? LinkedIn is a networking platform, but the groups, they just don't seem to get it technically in the good shape again, that it's visible on your timeline and that you're able to participate. So the visibility on LinkedIn is a challenge. On Facebook, however, it's really good. But the growth is also a challenge, not only the growth in the number of participants, really the active participants, and the number of content that gets shared, but also the growth of the group itself. So the more participants, that you can actually call it an interesting group. How do you reach out to those people? And when you have reached them, how can you have them sign up? Also in this, it needs to be interesting for them. So that's a little bit of marketing, that you have something available for them why it might be interesting to participate in a group. And a con is it's not anonymous. The same as here in this group now. I'm looking at the screen where all your names are here. Of course, you have the option to change your name, but also here you're not anonymous. And in the group, you're also not anonymous unless you have a social media profile with a fake name. But furthermore, it's not anonymous. So those are the pros and the cons in creating a social media group. I'm aware that I'm only talking about LinkedIn and Facebook, but if you check out what kind of social media platforms are used very often at this moment, then you see that WhatsApp is a huge group in this. And we have quite a few technical clients who work internationally, and they use WhatsApp as the main group to network, to share knowledge with each other, and to do all kinds of networking activities. I am aware that WhatsApp has been colliding, is a part of Facebook, and there are also quite some people, they think that because the regulations of Facebook and the privacy is an issue, that might be an issue. But if you look at the numbers, then you see that a whole lot of people are used, and this is I'm aware these are Dutch numbers, but it is a way to network and to look broader than only a LinkedIn or a Facebook. If you're even bigger internationally networking, then you also have other groups. For a Chinese alternative to LinkedIn, that's probably Tianji. This is a network that's part of Viadeo. It's an international network site with about 45 million registered users. And Tianji has a relatively large number of CEOs and approximately 9 million Chinese users. So what I'm trying to say is, if you start networking, it's very important in this to also check the audience that you want to network with, on what platforms are they available. Is it LinkedIn? Is it the Facebook? Is it the WhatsApp? Or is it an international other group? Instead of WhatsApp, there are many other initiatives that are growing. And check out what's the biggest platform that has the biggest option for your audience to get into contact with. I would like to share, and Willeke, I would like to invite you to participate in this, the knowledge platform The Hague. And maybe you can explain at this moment how you network with each other, and what media you use, and just how it works.
Okay, thank you, Karin. Yeah, as a member of the Net4 Age-Friendly Cost Action, it is very important to build your own local network and local ecosystem. And the ecosystem that I and the other Dutch representative is active in is Knowledge Platform The Hague. That is, The Hague is the age-friendly city since 2015, and they created a knowledge platform consisting of all the adults, representatives from universities and universities of applied sciences, from welfare and healthcare organizations, and also from companies. And our internal communication is that we use email all the time, and we don't have a website available. We can use the Hague official website, but not a knowledge platform website, or we don't have any groups so that we can talk together. So we do everything with email or online meetings or face-to-face meetings if COVID is over. Do I need to tell more, Karin, or is this it?
No, thank you.
Okay.
And when we were preparing for this meeting, this is what you told us, that how you work on this platform. Is it familiar for some of the people here in this group? Do they also work like that on groups, or is it differently? Is there someone who would like to respond? No, shit. No.
Hi, I'm Ifat from Israel.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
Actually, we have a big WhatsApp group with many people who are dealing with age. It can be age friendly, it can be whatever. And from this group, I'm sorry, but I'm somewhere where there's a little noise, so I'm sorry. In this group, we have all the information needed. If people are asking for questions, for example, what is the law about recompensation, about this and this? And this group is really active. And from this group, we created subgroups of people with special interests, like, for example, age-friendly cities and things that have to be, like we're talking about laws that we need to protect older people and things like that. And there are some people from some lawyers members, some architects, some town planners, representatives from cities. These are the smaller groups, and we decide, and sometimes if we need more information or we want to discuss something, we send a Zoom invitation, and then we have a meeting.
Wow, that's a really cool example that you shared. Really great, because that's exactly how we would advise that and to work. Especially if you look at WhatsApp, you have the possibility to find the media or the documents that you've shared in the group, that you can find it separately. So it's all about making it as easy as possible, the availability so easy as possible. Because if you look at and Willeke, and I'm sorry.
Karen, there's another example. If you
okay.
Yeah, you can. If there's Flaviana, raise her hand.
Okay, good.
Hello. As probably you've seen in my LinkedIn profile, because I know that you've been there, I'm running a health cluster, which is actually the largest cluster. And we have like 77 entities now. How we communicate in such a large network, which combines public, private bodies, all types of actors who you need in a value chain in health. We actually split them in groups of interest. Now, right now, we have 7 groups. One is dedicated to policy, one to materials, to equipments, to everything, e-health, for example. So all these groups, you can be in more than one group, because it's possible if you're a large entity to pass through more than one interest. And they receive only customized information. Sorry. Only customized information, because what we realized when we grow and taking the feedback of the network, which was initially 25, then 40, then 50, that sometimes too much information is as bad as no information. They felt overwhelmed.
Yes.
So first of all, customized groups. Then we use for information that concerns everyone. We use Facebook, LinkedIn, and the website. And the things that are crucially important comes on the emails also. because some people are not so fan of you know, WhatsApp messages, so they don't know how to really use them. So what we do, we send them also for the email, but usually they are from public bodies, the non-tech guys, not from the private. So they already reacted, say we prefer to receive this kind of information on the email. We have like a feedback form annually where we ask them what type of instruments do they want us to use on them. And we allow them to have several representatives. For example, it's an university, they have certain person in health, another person in materials, another person in, you know, so policy, in order not to, the information to go to the exact interested person.
Okay.
And this is how we manage to deal with them. WhatsApp, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, no Slack. They don't like Slack. None of them wanted, we tried, failed, completely failed with the Slack.
Okay, good to know because we use it. Go ahead, please, Karin.
What I find interesting is that you see on one hand, there's a very active groups. So there's a lot of networking and a lot of sharing. And on the other hand, that you then get the issue about how to create a good overview and to prevent the overwhelm and how to work with it. So another option might be is that you see how you have a kind of a platform, and that might be on your website, or hey, you can also compare it to a Dropbox, or that you have an online environment where you have all documents and information available, and that would also always be a central point where people can find everything. Because what I'm hearing is that you have so much information available that actually the management and moderation of everything might be the main issue. Yeah, go ahead, Flaviana.
We actually have also such a platform. It's behind the website where you can find all the necessary documents. The important documents are public, but you can also find everyone in the network more detailed what they are dealing with, what are their interests, what they have been doing in the last 2 years. So we have this kind of forum with information.
Yeah.
But somehow WhatsApp stays as the main communication form for this group.
Yeah, but that's the difference of having a library available when they want to go more in depth, and that the WhatsApp that you have for the actual networking, the engaging with people. So that's easy. It's easy accessible. It's fast, and then it's good when they always know there's one point where they can find all kinds of information, possibly within categories, etc. Then you'll be aware also of the overwhelm. So that's good. That's good. Well, you already gave a whole lot of answers and examples, Flaviana and Yifat also. Thank you very much in how to organize it and how to have on one hand that you work on engagement, that you have a good interactive network, and on the other hand, what you have available for all the data, all the information that gets shared. And I'm aware that, hey, you said that there are few people still prefer email, but the disadvantages of email, they still stay that usually we all work with the whole full email boxes. And if you reply to all, then you get these long email lists that you're trying to find back. And I'm aware that in WhatsApp you also have that option. Also, but if you have a group either in WhatsApp or in LinkedIn or in Facebook or in what kind of platform that you have the availability to look more to it, to search on the topic. And you're engaging on Larissa, I'm coming back to you. I've seen your question. You have the availability to engage on a different level, because if you're emailing, that usually email is seen as a work environment. So it's sort of the 9 to 5. Sometimes people read their email later, but it's the 9 to 5 mindset. If you're in a social media platform, either WhatsApp or LinkedIn or Facebook, usually work-related people check that out on the edges of the workday, and in the Netherlands, CEOs at this moment, you even see that at 8 o'clock in the evening they check that out. So then you're in a completely different environment, qua mindset, qua networking. So you're engaging on a completely different level. And then you're creating a network with different opportunities. Besides the fact that in a group, what kind of group you're having, it's easier to share all kinds of data. Your email box gets filled up with all documents and images and videos, etc. And if you have it in a group, then it's easier to share it, easier to find it. And if you have a whole lot of data, then you can even create a platform, as Flaviana was talking about. Larissa, you have a question.
Sorry, I would like to suggest maybe will be a good idea if we have the platform and groups according to the interests, but email use not for exchange the information, not for big discussion, but for information that there is some new information, especially for a member of the group just now. To pay attention, to go to platform and to see information, because a lot of everybody of us has a lot of tasks, has a lot of different activities, and when we sometimes we have no time to look at the LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. A lot of different social networks we have now, especially in this time when we have coronavirus and so on. COVID, according to the COVID, all the time we're working online, and a big information for person is we have to work with this information. We have to work with this information. And I think maybe only for information, you have new information, look at email like maps. There are new information. You can see, that's all. And link where it should to go. And that's all. Maybe it will be easy. I think about this.
Yes, it is a way that when you have information that you send out a message where you can find it. To be really honest, you have to be aware that then it's I'm not saying this in a negative way, but that is actually more information sending mindset. Is that you think it's very important that you send out information for them to find it. It is a good option to have that along with it. In networking, it's very important that you're in a conversation with people, so that you're engaging. But I can understand with the number of content that you're sharing that it might be so much that you say, well, what this is listen how I'm saying it, this is very important for them to know. So that's why I'm sending them information where they can find it. It might be an option that you ask your network if they would prefer to have those kind of messages. In networking, it's all about the other person and how they would like to network with you. So it's very important to know from your audience how they like networking with you. But it's a good addition to it, Liza. Thank you. Yes, I'm going. Miroslav.
Hello. I have a question regarding actually working hours and spare time, because as you have seen now, since the last 1.5 years, we all switched to home office, we all started to work at home, and we are online 24/7. And you just mentioned sometimes CEOs are trying to go online and try to network between 8 p.m. and midnight. So the question would be, what is your experience, how we can also detach from that flow actually, which keeps us busy all the time? Because at the end of the day, the switch to online networking also somehow tear down the barriers to say, okay, I'm in the work and now I have spare time, I have time for my family, because nowadays I have the feeling you can be busy all the time and trying to build your network or your community and keep up to date, but you are missing your private life actually.
Well, it's a very good remark, and I think everybody is struggling with that. But 1.5 years ago, it was very clear when we had the best times to be sharing information and to get response. And last year, it has been changing by week. What we do see is that during the week in the morning, that's not the best timing. Monday morning, especially Monday afternoon, not great either, but it's like people are used to have an alarm clock at 8:30, they brush their teeth, get a cup of coffee, and they start to work, something like that. So 1.5 years ago, it was very good also to network before 8:30, 9 o'clock. At this moment, it isn't. So you've seen that it has changed toward lunchtime or in the evening. And I'm aware that everybody is struggling what is the work-life balance. Yeah, we always more let the audience speak for themselves and where you get the best response. What we also see is Saturday is now usually a good time. Then you get more interaction also. If you don't want as much interaction, but what Larissa said, but I do want to send out information, even a Sunday morning is good for that. Sunday morning is good for the people who watch. But if you're not expecting a response, a Sunday morning is good. Saturday afternoon, then you will have a lot of response and a lot of people who are watching them. So then you have the biggest chance, and during the evening. Even, and that was pre-COVID, never, Friday afternoon was the worst afternoon. Last 6 months, the Friday afternoon is the best time to post. There is not a clear answer in this. I realize it, but it's an experience that we're changing so rapidly. The only thing you can do is check it out for your own audience, maybe ask. In LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to have a poll and ask what time people prefer to have a discussion. Listen as much as possible and try. I'm afraid that's the only advice I can give. It's changing every week at this moment. Yes. Okay. I'll continue if there are no questions at this moment. As you indicated, we have visited a whole lot of your profiles, and it sounds obvious, but keep in mind that 99% of the people you network with have Googled you or will do so. This also includes potential clients or investors. So make sure you have a profile and any cover photo on all your social media accounts that doesn't destroy your professionalism in the one go. On Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram, your profile picture doesn't really have to be serious as the one on your LinkedIn, but a playful picture with you with a glass of wine or a carnival outfit, maybe not such a good idea. It is your positioning as a professional, even on Facebook, even on Instagram, even on Snapchat or whatever. We've checked out a few profiles, and it's basically, what do you want your visitor to be aware what kind of professional person you are. As a cover photo, I'm not here to say what's right or wrong, but it's only what I'm seeing. And as a cover photo, you can use here an image that says more about what you might be bringing, what you might be offering as a network. Your profile on social media platforms is all about the starting point of your networking. If you, I'm not sure what the relation with this cover photo might be, but if there's some kind of professional relation with it, I would advise to add maybe some copy, maybe a logo, make it so that your visitor doesn't have to guess what you're trying to say with this image. And your header copy is the first starting point of your networking activities. So what do you place here to have an engagement from the get-go? The top part of your profile, you're inviting them to go to your about. And on social media, it's all about engagement. So not creating a wall between you and your visitor. So you talk in the first person, and this is in third person, and then you're creating a distance between you and your visitor. Those are a few tips that you could do. For Pete, I'm not sure if you have your privacy settings so that people who visit your profile don't see your cover image, or that you don't have a cover image. But it's a way to show your professionalism. So use that option. Both of you, I'm very happy that you have the about. And you might say, yes, of course, but a whole lot of people don't have the about. But in the about, you can share what your visitor might gain from you. It's a very hard remark, but your profile is actually not about you, but it's about your visitor and how you might be able to help them. And that's why I said earlier, it's very important for you to discuss what your objective is with your networking. If your objective is to position yourself as a leading professor for kind of speaking engagements, maybe you should leave it then like this. Leila, I saw you put on your camera. So it's not that it's a good profile or that it's a bad profile. It's more, what is your objective, and then based on that you're going to evaluate, well, how can I improve it? Because usually what you would like from a profile is that they come on your profile and that they want to engage with you, that they either want to connect with you or that you invite them towards a group, or what other activities that you would want. Do you want to have a speaking engagement, that you then invite them towards an environment where you have examples of your speaking engagements. It's not really like a resume, but it is your own professional presentation. And finally, LinkedIn has a whole lot of image options. Use them. Make fun with it. Have fun with it. That's what I'm trying to say. And see how you. And it's difficult, I realize, because it's talking about yourself. But you're all very experienced professionals, so you may show it. What I did like seeing about both of you is that you're already participating in some groups. Petra a little bit less than Leila. I'm not sure if you're using those groups actively, if you're participating actively in it. This group has 7 members, maybe it's an own group. But it's good. How you use groups on a LinkedIn is what we usually advise for groups to create additional knowledge for your own knowledge building, and then about 5 to 10 groups to get into contact with your audience. Usually in the past you were able to participate in 50 groups. Now you're able to participate in way more groups. But the thing is that LinkedIn, because they changed so much in the groups regulations, it's actually quite hard to find a group that is really active, that's not only commercial messages, but with really content messages. So what we usually say, keep it at first at 15 groups max, because if you have bigger groups, more groups, it usually don't do anything with it, or the group itself doesn't do anything with it. And a group of 86 or 89,000 people, I'm aware that it's an Oracle specific group, might be interesting and might be not interesting. It's all up to you and how you would like to work with groups and what you expect from them. All in this is also always what is your objective and how you work with it. Oh, the number of connections. That's also very often a discussion. Do you need a whole lot of connections, or do you need little connections? You can solve it. Usually LinkedIn says if you have 500 plus, then you have the right number of connections. In the beginning, it was, especially in Holland, we're very critical on a very qualitative network. So everybody said, I only want to have people in my network that I really know. But at this moment, because LinkedIn is already older, because we're used to working online, we're used to networking online. When people visit your profile, it's not more. It's really common that you have 500 plus connections. Usually, when you don't have 500 yet, it says that you're not really that active on LinkedIn or not really that active networking. And then, and I realize it's a very shallow opinion. But if you don't have 500 connections, that people might say you're not very interesting to network with. Although as a professional, you are. I'm aware that all of you are. It's very shallow. But that's the way how social media works also a little bit. So for Tamara and Pedro, both the advice, put in your cover image. Pedro, maybe you can zoom in a little bit with your photo. Because it's all about networking, and people want to network with people, so they want to see your face, and your face is visible here, but on the mobile phone the image gets smaller, and then your face might be not so very visible or not clear enough. And also with your arms like this, it's a very closed image. So if you zoom in a little bit, you don't see the closed image. And really all those small things that say a lot about your profile and makes people stay or go there. Tamara, it's a very, very nice professional image. Here also add your cover image, and head of the Department for Public Care. It doesn't say much. It doesn't give me a reason why I would want to network with you or participate with you. And on one hand, same as with Pedro, PhD, it says a lot about your professionalism. Also, it might be you both of you build up a little bit bigger of a wall that I might find it harder to invite you for something for networking. It's all about being available for people and being open for people, and that you give them that you like it to participate in discussions. Very good here, Pedro, that you're in the first person that you're talking. Tamara, if you add the about, you have about 2,000 characters to use, and you can use them. Tell people what you prefer to help people with, why you do what you do, and why you're active online, and what your objective is in your professional life. Both of you, Tamara, it shows all that Tamara is not very active at this moment yet, and that's also fine. What we usually advise, if you're acting online, make sure you do it that it emphasizes your professional image. Otherwise, it might even harm it a little bit. So it's very important. People Google you, and if you don't have the profile that emphasizes your professionalism might even work against you. And I realize, again, it's very shallow, but that's really how the online world works, unfortunately. Well, Pedro is invested in many groups, so same as what I said earlier. Check out if those groups are still interesting for you, and maybe once a year check out the groups that you're participating in. Are they still interesting, or are they not interesting anymore? The number of groups you're participating in also provides LinkedIn information in the data they will share with you. So if you're in groups that you're not interested anymore, leave them, because otherwise LinkedIn thinks, well, he finds this and this kind of content interesting, and they might share that with you. So keep in mind that every time, even when you're on the phone call with someone, when you're in an email with someone, and not on social media, people will check you out online. So it's a chance for you to improve and confirm your professionalism. So, what are you?
Karin, there is a question from Stefan Schuk that is regarding the view in Sales Navigator that is visible in your LinkedIn. We don't have it. I can confirm that too.
If you don't have Sales Navigator as a paid subscription, you don't see the option there to show it.
What kind of views?
Your screen share. In the top it says Sales Navigator.
Yeah.
If you don't have Sales Navigator, you're not going to see it there.
Sorry, that's
Yeah, view in Sales Navigator.
Oh yes, sorry. I have a paid subscription. I didn't understand the question. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I have a subscription of Sales Navigator. It's a premium LinkedIn account, and it especially for sales, it helps me to create lists of people that you might want to get into contact with. And in the basic of LinkedIn, you don't have that option. You are able to search. You have a maximum number of searches every month. LinkedIn doesn't share how many, but it's between 30 and 60, somewhere there. It's now the 11th of August. If you had too many searches, then you will only get one result from LinkedIn, and that lasts until the 1st of September. So if you already have that now, that means that you're going towards the limits of your basic LinkedIn activities, and then it might be interesting to go to a premium account. Before that, if you don't experience any limits in your LinkedIn activities, it's not worth it, what we say, to go for a premium account, because it's usually it starts at 300 euros a year until about 700 euros a year. There are several subscriptions for that.
Thank you. Karin, regarding the time, how much time do you need? Okay.
Yes. So if you want to go networking or improve your networking, because all of you are of course already networking, it's very important to first have your networking objective clear. It helps you clear out what kind of audience you want to reach out to, and what kind of audience you don't want to reach out to. Determine your audience, then adjust your personal profile, because if you know your objective and know what kind of audience, then you can adjust your personal profile. Then you can start thinking about what kind of content do you want to share. Call it a content calendar. How are you going to work with it? And then start reaching out. Start reaching out to people and inviting them towards your network and start networking. Well, what I said earlier, I do realize that a whole lot of people find it difficult that you are participating in groups, but really one-on-one networking that you find it challenging or maybe even scary a little bit. Especially for Willeke, especially for this group, we have created a workshop, social networking. And in this workshop, we will be together create your objective, why you would be networking and what you want to gain from it. Determine your audience, but also finding them. Together searching, how do you search on LinkedIn? How do you find them? And how can you start inviting them? We're going to optimize your LinkedIn profile, because I said about 2% the optimization for your LinkedIn profile. And it will be a 3-hour workshop, a date to be determined with this group specifically. If you would like to participate, send a message to Willeke, and then we'll get into contact with you for the date and send you more information. A small note, if you participate in this workshop by this week, then additionally we'll have a personal profile feedback for you after your optimization. So after the workshop, you can send us a message. Well, I have finalized my profile. Can you send a response? And then you'll get a personal profile feedback. So if you would like to participate in a workshop and have a kickoff for your social media networking, then just send Willeke a message. So are there any more questions now, Willeke?
Yes, there is one question again from Stefan Schulk regarding content posting.
Yes.
How do you see the standard offer of cross-posting LinkedIn to Twitter? Personally, I do not like this too.
Cross-posting, it is an option. What I find for myself, it's very difficult to maintain more networks. But if it's only posting, you could do that, because what I do experience is that there are different audience on Twitter besides from LinkedIn. I would prefer to have your focus on one platform, because usually that's already more than enough work. But the posting only, you could do that over more platforms. But if you start posting, you also have to start moderating, etc. It's all based on your objective. What do you want to get out of it?
Yeah, and your content on the LinkedIn platform is sometimes actually most of the time a little bit different than what you do on Twitter. Yeah. So if you make, for example, a content calendar, these are separate lines which you need to manage. And I think that's also what Karen says.
But the character is differently.
The character is different.
Yeah. Twitter is faster, the small notes, and LinkedIn, the LinkedIn post at this moment, you have about 3,000 characters available for the post. You might say even that the articles, maybe in the future they will disappear, we don't know yet. But you can make long posts, and what we see is you have a long post and that you use a whole lot of characters, at least 1,000 characters, then your number of views also go up. So it's a whole different character in the platforms.
Okay, thank you. Leila also raised her hand.
Yes. Yeah, first of all, hello everyone again. And first of all, I need to thank you, Karin, and for a great analysis of my LinkedIn profile, really. I got very good comments from you, and it is noticeable, really. And I need to improve, but I noticed, and before pandemic, and I was using it very actively, and others as well. And I think in pandemic, right, and even on Facebook or others, or in social media, right, and people are more passive. Maybe it's only my idea, maybe. But sometimes, and it takes so much time, right? And using different social media, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on and so on. Okay. But anyway, and from our point of view, for example, professionals, scientists, and I think LinkedIn is very the best, right? Social media. We need to improve really, and I will add some objectives, and I need to design in other way and modify my profile. I will take into account your comments.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. And I agree that especially from a professional kind of view, LinkedIn is the best platform. You can see it also that you have the networking, getting into first contact with people through LinkedIn. And then should you be creating a group that you want to go more in depth on this kind of topic, then you can decide what kind of platform would you want to use for those kind of activities. And the several platforms that we have discussed earlier. But I agree. I think for the professional networking is that LinkedIn is the strongest network, depending on what kind of region you're operating. Worldwide, it varies.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Are
you.
there any more questions? Otherwise, we have come to the end of this meeting. Very interesting meeting. Thank you very much, Karin and Mark, for your presentations and giving the insights on the social networks. And also the participants, thank you very much for your active participation. So I would like to close this meeting and see you next time, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for the presentation. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.